Hi everyone, so this is now week number 5. Now let's start. Okay, so last meeting we're done already with the first phase of database planning and design. Now for today's video, we are going to proceed now to the second phase of database planning and design, which is what we call the data refinement. So from the word data refinement, from the word refine, we are now going to arrange the information that we collected or that we need for a certain database. So I have here some examples that we can do for our database. Example, we are going to create example, just like for example, we are going to create a student information system. So that is the title of our database, student information system. Now, for the first phase, we are going to identify the purpose of the database first. The purpose of our student information database. That's why I come up with the first purpose or with the two purpose, and the first purpose will be store and display records of students' personal information. Please take note, store and display records of personal information of students. Then second purpose, we are going to store and display records of students' subject information. So we are going to talk about personal information of students and the subject information of the students. Then let's say for example, I am done already. Actually, I'm done already identifying the different field names that we need based on the purpose. So ano nga ba yung mga field names na kailangan natin for the personal information? At ano nga ba yung mga field name na kailangan natin for the subject information? Then after we identify the field name, we are going to perform the field definition principle. We are going to field definition principle, which we are going to break down the field name into a smaller parts. So ginawa ko na po yun dito. Then I come up with last name, first name, last name, middle initial, gender, subject grade, age, subject name, section, birth date, grade level, street, city, municipality, province, country, teacher last name, teacher first name, and teacher middle initial. Now, so I'm done already with the data definition principle, which is the last step in the data definition. Now, for the second phase of database planning and design, which is the data refinement, we are now going to identify kung saang table natin ilalagay itong mga field names natin. But before that, we need to identify kung ano yung mga table na kailangan natin for our database based on the purpose. Database based on the purpose of our database. So we have here store and display. Wait, let me just change my pen. Okay. Store and display. So it says here on the first purpose, we are going to store. So from the word store, maglalagay ba tayo ng information? Saan? Sa personal information. Kanino? Kay students. Personal information kay students. Kailangan ba natin ng container? Kailangan ba natin ng lalagyan? Yes. Anong pangalan ng lalagyan? Personal information. Because of the word store. Okay? Because of the word store. So, anong pangalan ng ating first table? Personal information. So, we identify already our first table, and that is the personal information based on our purpose. Now, gawin ulit natin dito sa second purpose. Now, store and display records of student subject information. From the word store again. Do we need another table? Yes. Anong pangalan ng table? Subject information. Okay? So, subject information yung second table natin. So, our first table will be personal information. Then, our second table will be subject information. That's why we come up with two table based on our purpose. And that is personal information and subject information. So, after identifying what table is needed for our database based on the purpose of our database, then we are now ready to distribute the different field names that is needed on our table. So, once we said personal information, ano ang mga field names na ilalagay natin sa personal information? So, ilalagay ba natin si subject name kay personal information? No, because subject name is not a personal information. So, subject name, it is pertaining on your subject. That's why we are going to put the field name, subject name, into the subject information. Okay? While the personal information like first name, last name, middle initial, gender, age, section, birth date, grade level of the students, and other information of the students will be moved or will be put into our personal information because that is the personal information of the students. While the subject information, we're going to put here the different field names that is needed for the subject information, which is pertaining only on the subject. Example, subject name, subject grade, teacher last name, teacher first name, teacher middle initial, ano po ba, and so on and so forth. Now, ilipat ko lang sa next slide natin para mas mabasa. Now, we are going to distribute it and I am done already distributing it. So, on our personal information, please correct me if I'm wrong. On our personal information, we have last name, middle initial, last name, first name, middle initial, and last name. Then we have gender, age, section, birthday, grade level, street, city, municipality, province, and country. Those are personal information of students. And these are the subject information of students. The subject name. Pag sinabi kasi nating subject name, ang magiging record na po niyan is yung English, Science, Filipino. Yun na yung magiging record ng subject name. Mamaya makikita nyo po siya mamaya. And of course, we have the subject grade, kung ilan ang average nyo dun sa subject na yun. And of course, the teacher last name, teacher first name, and teacher middle initial. Pwede ba maging personal information si teacher last name, first name, and middle initial? No. Hindi po siya pwede maging personal information. Pwede po siya maging subject information at pwede rin po siya maging advisor's information or teacher's information. Kaya lang yung advisor's information at teacher's information ay hindi po naka-indicate sa ating purpose or sa purpose ng ating database. Ang naka-indicate lang po sa purpose ng ating database is personal information, store and display personal information of the students. So that is personal information. Then store and display subject information of the students. So that is subject information. Of course, sa mga subject, kailangan may teacher. Meron bang subject na walang teacher? Of course, wala. So that is subject information. So, let's say for example, in-implement na natin yan. Implement na natin yan. In-implement na natin at nagkaroon na po tayo ng record. Okay? Nagkaroon na po tayo ng mga iba't ibang record or nagkaroon na po tayo ng record ng students. Then, ito ang magiging result. So, we have here now the name of our table. Okay? The name of our table, and this is the field names of our table. So, ito yung mga field names ng ating table. Ano ngayon itong nasa baba? Yung nasa baba is the record. The record that we need to store. As a database programmer, we need to store. So, we have Mr. Tom Maki, a male student, 12 years old, section 1, and of course, pinanganak noong January 30, 2003, grade 10 student, taga Magsaysay, Bayambang, Nueva Vizcaya, Philippines. Then we have Miss Jenny, female student, 13 years old, and of course, section 1 pa rin, February 14, 2003 pa rin, grade 10 student, taga Dumlao, Bayambang, Nueva Vizcaya, Philippines. Then of course, on our second table, we have the subject information or their subject information. Ito na yung mga subject ng mga estudyante natin. Subject nila Mr. Tom at subject nila Miss Jenny. For the subject information, we have here the title of our table. Then, of course, we have here the field name of our table. So, si field name, ito, nag-i-store po siya ng mga, this is a short description of our records. So, ini-store po nila yung mga records po natin. Hinahawakan po nila yung mga records natin. So, let's say, for example, on the subject name, we have here the English, Math, Science, Filipino, TLE, MAPE, and Aralin Panlipunan. And ito po yung mga grades po nila, and ito po yung mga teachers po nila. Now, paano natin ngayon malalaman kung subject ba ito ni Mr. Tom? Subject ba to ni Miss Jenny? Subject ba to ni Mr. Tom? Subject ba to ni Miss Jenny? Okay. Siyempre, kung titignan natin yung table lang, hindi natin malalaman kung kaninong subject yan. Pero kung kakausapin natin yung person, malalaman natin kung kaninong subject yung mga yan. Kaya lang, paano kung wala yung person? And that is our role, storing information. Paano natin malalaman kung kaninong subject yung mga yan? Okay, so that is the use now of our student ID. Question. Ang student ID ba pwedeng maulit? Of course, hindi. Hindi pwedeng maulit si student ID. Kaya dito sa personal information, dapat yung ID ng ating estudyante ay hindi dapat siya na uulit. So, pag nagamit na yung 001, hindi na po dapat magagamit yung 001. So, ano na magiging ID ng susunod? Magiging 002. So, dapat unique yung ID ng ating first name. Pero paano natin masisiguro na hindi natin madodouble or madodoble yung ID ng ating students? Yung ID na ilalagay natin sa ating students. Okay. So, i-assign na natin ngayon para hindi madouble, para hindi madoble yung information sa ating table, i-assign natin ngayon si student ID as a primary key. Okay? As a basta primary key. Okay? So, i-assign natin si student ID bilang isang primary key. So, pag sinabi natin or kapag ka na-assign yung isang field name natin as a primary key, or pag in-assign natin yung field name natin bilang isang primary key, ibig sabihin, yung field name na natin, hindi siya pwedeng mag-contain o hindi siya pwedeng mag-store ng information na na-duplicate. Okay? Hindi siya pwedeng mag-store ng mga magkaparehang information. So, ibig sabihin, pag in-assign natin yung field name natin as a primary key, ibig sabihin, we are now going to store a unique value. So, dapat ang i-store lang natin sa student ID is a unique value. Paano kung dinuplicate mo pa rin? Mag-error po yung table natin na kailangan mong palitan yung isa. Okay? Kailangan pong palitan yung isa. So, that's why, in that way, hindi natin mauulit yung information or yung ID ng ating estudyante. Ngayon, makikita na ba natin yung subject ni Mr. Tom or ni Miss Jenny? Of course, hindi pa. Kasi, kailangan pa natin i-integrate yung student ID sa ating subject information. So, pag in-integrate natin yung student ID sa ating subject information, then, malalaman na natin kung kaninong subject kanino si English, kanino si Math, parang ganon. So, ma-identify na natin dito kung sino or kung ano yung mga subject ni Mr. Tom, ano yung subject ni Miss Jenny. Okay? Because student ID, ano ID ni Mr. Tom? 001. So, ano ID na nakalagay sa student ID sa ating subject information? 001. Then, of course, we have here. Okay, so as I was saying, so si Mr. Tom merong ID na 001. So dito, ID ni student ID ay 001. So, malalaman na natin na si Mr. Tom ay may English, may Math, may Science, at may Filipino because of the student ID. And of course, TLE will be kay Miss Jenny. And of course, MAPE and Aralin Panlipunan. Pero question, di ba sabi ko kanina, inassign natin dito as a primary key si personal information. At hindi pwedeng maulit yung information or yung record. Hindi pwedeng i-duplicate yung record. Pero bakit dito na-duplicate? Reminder, inassign natin si student ID as a primary key sa personal information table lang. Pero dito sa subject information, we assign our student ID as a foreign key. Okay? Foreign key. Okay, so yan. So, as a foreign key. Pag sinabi naman nating foreign key, ito yung mga field name na hindi na-assign as student ID. So, ito na yung mga pwedeng ma-duplicate ang kanilang record. Okay, pwedeng ma-duplicate ang kanilang record. That's why, pwede na maulit si student ID o yung record sa ating student ID. So, primary key, and of course, we have here the foreign key. So, pwede na po siyang maulit. Kasi ang isang estudyante, pwede magkaroon ng more than one subject. That's why, dapat si student ID dito ay naka-foreign key. Okay, so that is the primary key and the foreign key. So that is the data refinement. Always remember that data refinement, it is now the time that we are going to assign the different field names into their respective table based on their purpose. Okay, based on their database purpose na ginawa po natin. Okay, so as a summary, in order for us to create a database, we need to identify first the title. We need to identify the title. After we identify the title of our database, then we are going to come up a purpose of our database or the purpose of our database. And based on the purpose, we can identify now the different field names of our database. The different field names that is needed for our database. So based on the purpose. The next, the data refinement, which is you're going to assign the different field names that you identify based on the purpose into their respective table. Then of course, in order for you to identify the table, you need to identify or you need to analyze your purpose. Kung ano yung mga information na kailangan natin at ano yung mga table na kailangan din po natin. The next will be, we have discussed also the primary key. If we are going to assign the field name as the primary key, then yung field name na yon, mag-a-accept lang po siya ng unique value. So, hindi po pwedeng i-duplicate ang ating records once na naka-assign yung field names natin as primary key. And of course, yung mga hindi naka-assign na primary key, that is now what we call foreign key. Okay, foreign key or those are the different values. Pagka naka-assign yung field name natin as a foreign key, then the value of our field name can be duplicate. Okay, pwede po siyang i-duplicate. So that is the database planning and design first phase and the second phase of database planning and design, which is data definition and data refinement. Next meeting or next week, we are going to talk about naman the database relationships or the 3 types of relationships. Database relationships po, hindi po yung iniisip nyong relationships. Okay? So that is the database or the second phase of database planning and design. So thank you for listening. Please answer your activity 1. Good luck into your activity. God bless and stay safe, Louisians. Happy learning. Bye.